One teacher still teaching in this district that signed that original charter. We have Mr. Amato. You are on that charter. You're one of the signatures on there. And he is still Pottstown family, although not technically in a classroom. He's still a teacher in the district. So one of the things that we try to hit home with when I talk to the new teachers and when we discuss the importance of a public school education, not a private school, not a charter school, a public school education. We talk about the blueberry story, where we get the green and blue of our shirts. The blueberry story basically is about a CEO who has net profits of millions of dollars. He's an ice cream entrepreneur. He thinks he's great at everything and would be one of those people that would be like, well, why can't teachers do better in the classroom? Why aren't their scores better? Why, this or that? He ended up experiencing teaching, and the story basically says that in a private school, in a charter school, when you get blueberries, you can pick out all of the rotten blueberries. You can pick out the blueberries that aren't quite ripe yet, and then keep just the best blueberries, okay? A private school can do that. A public school cannot. When we get our basket of blueberries, we get all of them. Doesn't matter how ripe they are, how ready they are to learn. It doesn't matter if they're over the edge, they don't want to have anything to do with school. They come into that classroom every day, and we need to educate them, regardless of what they're bringing with them. And they're bringing a lot. Next one. So during parent-teacher conferences, we give out things like this: how to say things to your child to encourage them to really want to go to school, really want to do exceptional things. We try to help with the food drive. We did that 2 years ago. We did the media lab. We went down to the cluster. We have most recently, on October 6th, had a collaboration with the district as well as AROS, which is the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, to tell legislators, tell media, tell people, we're drowning here. We need fair funding. There's a formula out there. Let's use it. There is no way that my students in Pottstown are any less important than the students in Lower Merion. It's not fair to our kids. So the walk-in, again, is about fair funding, and it was spearheaded by the union. It was in collaboration with Mr. Decker, who did all of the footwork this year, all of it. I think last year both of you did it together, and Mr. Rodriguez, as well as the school board. Manny? That's a picture from last year. That was in May. At the end of the school year, again, trying to tell legislators, we need help. Next. We've done voter registration in conjunction with Mrs. Armato, who helped us get the materials that we needed. We had voter registrations in each of the buildings. We also had it at the high school and continue to have it at the high school for students that turn 18 and want to register to vote right away, and they can do that. This is a huge initiative for us. This was a big push for us to get into the community, hopefully not being too intimidating. I've applied over a number of years. After 3 years of trying to get this first book grant going, we finally were accepted. 3 of us drove to Pittsburgh. We rented 1 truck in Pittsburgh, got there, 16,365 brand new books later, and we have too much weight for 1 truck. So luckily, we had 3 of us because one of the extra people we rented another truck, a 26-footer. So 2 of us drove fully loaded trucks back, and the other person drove my van back. We came back and unloaded into the auto shop, which is in the back of the school by the Y, at the very beginning of August when we got these. Go ahead. There's a picture of books from up at the top of the steps. Some of those cases had 100 books in them, some of them had 40, some of them had 20, depending on what the book was. They were pre-K books, actually birth books, all the way through high school. We gave books away at homecoming. We gave books away at back to school night. We gave books away at the first day of school. A kid came in. Every single child, K through 8, had a book on their desk the first day of school. Brand new free book, all their own, that they could keep. They didn't have to take it back to the library. We did a whole bunch of books in baskets for the students and children who had to be at PMMC over Christmas. When they don't want to be there, they want to be home waiting for Santa. Go ahead. This was the Halloween parade. We, with the district's approval, we borrowed one of the work trucks and filled it to the max with books on both sides and in the back. And I swear I was only going about 2 miles an hour, but everybody thinks I was going about 30 because they were trying to get books and hand them out. And students, instead of getting candy at the Halloween parade last year, got a book. I got an email the very next morning from one of the kindergarten teachers that said, I had the best Halloween ever. I got a book instead of candy. That, you know, that just goes so far. Go ahead. It's another picture of that's Mr. DiDonato's wife right there. A whole bunch of teachers, one of the building reps from over at Barth, and the back of that's towards the end, the back of that photo. Go ahead. We are also sponsors of Pottstown Farm. We gave away books there. We raffled off what a typical teacher spends on supplies for their classroom right when they go to school. So, and collected information that we could reach out to some people in the community to see if they could help us with getting to the legislators. Go ahead. We have so far in the last year and a half donated $10,000 to Save the Lights because that is so important to the community. Okay. We've also donated to the Pottstown Little League. We believe in educating the whole child, not just math, not just science, not just the arts in a classroom, outside of a classroom. Being part of a team is so important in this day and age, especially when you have to work with, globally, you have to work with people and be able to be on that same team. At the bike rodeo for Police Athletic League, Art Fusion, that did have Fusion behind there, and I don't know why it wouldn't stay up in that box. We are donating for one of the tiles at Art Fusion, again, because that whole child should be educated, and we want students to be able to go to Art Fusion at no cost and experience that. And that's it. Mr. Decker, would you like to speak, or Mr. DiDonato? Because I certainly have barely covered any of things that we've done.
I think the most important thing is that I want to reiterate what Beth said about the fact that all of our teachers are here because we want to be here. I've told all of my classes, and they're going to have to pry the marker out of my hand from my classroom. That's where I'm going to be until they have to cart me out. I don't want to teach anywhere else. We have the greatest students on the planet. I've experienced some students in some other school districts who are the districts that are much wealthier, and the students have nowhere near the manners or the respect that our students give every day. And all of us are continually focused on whatever else we can do. I'm happy to hear about the arts at MCC because we brought back our musicals 2 years ago. I happen to have been one of the key people to get those back, and I just came here from auditions for this year's musical. So you have to come see. Your program. Pardon?
I want to put an ad in.
Excellent, excellent. Little Shop of Horrors, first weekend of March. There's my one.
Nothing will be better than the Wiz. So.
I don't know.
That line was good.
You're a little biased. But those types of things, and I'm looking forward to talking about our curriculum and other things that we've done within the buildings with different types of programs. That's what we do. And we just want to be able to get out and respond to your needs more. So any feedback you have for us, we'd love to hear it. Mr. D?
Mike DiDonato, fifth grade teacher at PottsTown Middle School and vice president of the Federation of Teachers here. This is my 11th year in Pottstown. I've been here my whole career, all spent in fifth grade. And Pottstown is a place that gets in your heart. It really does. It really, truly does. It means so much to me. I mean, in fact, I even met my wife teaching here in Pottstown. She teaches here in Pottstown as well. She teaches sixth grade, so she always complains about the fifth grade teachers not preparing them for sixth grade. So she's like, who did this guy have for math last year? I don't know. But it's such a connection to it, and it's so nice to be with someone that feels as strongly about teaching and about Pottstown as I do. The fair funding rally was very important. But one thing that's also very important is that everybody here get out and vote in the election that's coming up. We are at a critical time in Pennsylvania. Most of you may not know that for years Pennsylvania was one of the only 3 states that did not have a fair funding formula, which created a have and a have-not system. It created a system where the rich schools got richer and the poor schools got poorer. And those inequities affected all of us in here, from parents, students, and teachers, but mostly our students. And what happens with these inequities is that some of the key components to success in school, the number 1 correlating factor is socioeconomic status. Number 2 is class size. And number 3, I don't want to steal any thunder from our peak people, is early school readiness. When there is inequitable funding, they found that students in those school districts have less access to technology, less opportunities for pre-K education, and less staffing and services. Included in that would be mental health services and adequate staffing. Now you mix all those in there with the specter of standardized testing, which is also biased, and you have a recipe for disaster in certain cases. And so I don't say this as any excuses for anyone. What I'm saying is we are being put at a disadvantage. And there are ways out of that. And the ways out of that are to research our candidates and look at their educational platforms, to move away from standardized testing, give more local control to our schools. We believe that President Obama's ESSA Act, which was Every Student Succeeds, would be a step away from No Child Left Behind. And we'll start to move away from those standardized testing, which are biased to a lot of our students, and create more of an equitable situation where we can have local control and we can decide what is best for our students. But it is absolutely critical that we get the right people in place. We have an election here in the next couple weeks, and I'm not only talking about presidential elections. The local elections also affect us all. We need to get people in there who will fight for us, who will fight for our students. And that's the whole point behind the Fair Funding Rally. That's the whole point behind all the contacting of local legislators that we've done. That's the whole point in everything that we do through our union, and that I believe in union because of the power of numbers and influence. And we can influence those right people to help our students. And that's what we need. So when we say that we need help from our legislators, that's what we mean. It's not just about money, it's about resources, it's about equal footing, equal opportunity. There is a fair funding formula in place now. We're hoping that there's a consistent way to give revenue to that fair funding, but it still doesn't help the inequities that last for the last few decades and put us at a disadvantage. So it's critically important that we get the right people in place this November to help our town and towns like ours so that every child in the state has an equal chance. And that's what we will fight for more than anything else, because we believe in our students and we believe that they deserve that opportunity.